Good morning, one and all. It is currently 7 a.m. If we're focusing. 7 a.m. on this Tuesday morning, January 6th, 2026. And as I stated in yesterday's content, that I would not be providing much content in the way of the future, as I am trying to cut back on my online activities, if you will, for certain specific reasons. And I have quite a little bit to bring to the table this morning, unfortunately for you. And I want to talk first about this not so great state of Michigan. And then I want to do a little bit of a recap over past content and how it is quite relative to today. And I will try to make this as quick as possible. Now, as you can see right here today in my area, that being of Martin, Michigan, 48% rain and snow, see full forecast. Now, I'm not hearing anything about snow per se in our forecast in our neck of the woods. More so to the northern counties, and we are also to receive freezing rain in certain sections of Michigan today. And of course, well, I guess they set the stage yesterday with all of yesterday's activities that I recorded and shared. Okay, now, pertaining to, once again, this not so great state of Michigan, well, we've had quite a few things that's come about within recent days, and as well as things that goes back many, many years. And, well, ever since the pandemic of 2019, Michigan has made a great many headline news events, shall we say, especially shortly after that so-called pandemic. And, of course, we've also had issues with water pipelines in Flint, Michigan, as well as other places. And we also have an aging pipeline, oil transfer pipeline in northern Michigan that's been of considerable discussion and even debates. And we also have a situation that is to also unfold in the near future. Okay, now I want to go to where our power, or a great majority of our power and the service that we get our energy through, which is known as consumers' energy. Okay, and count on us. A great majority of this state of Michigan, if it is serviced through the power provided through consumers' energy, and that being both gas and electric. Now, there's plans that they want to incorporate solar energy in with their power facility. And I have to ask, just what are they expecting to power up the solar panels? We have far, far too much activity in the skies overhead to keep the, proper lighting to power up solar panels. Unless, of course, there's plans for that specific area of a solar farm, if you will, to have open skies in order to provide sunlight to charge up those solar panels. But once again, within my content, how often do we see that so-called sun? All right. Okay, so let's go a little bit further with consumers' energy. And mind you, when I do Google searches, I have opted out of having my searches saved. Okay? Which causes some complications every once in a while, but not all that much. And so I want to go ahead and go right here. And this is something that I just went ahead and tossed in as far as a quick search. And where I wanted to know is, okay, I want to explain this as well. Now, on 2 separate occasions this morning, I put in the same search, word for word, the same search, and I came up with 2 separate results. Okay? Different information per search through an AI overview. Now, once again, this is just through the Google search engine and not delving deeper with AI. Okay? Now, we've had this this nuclear power plant along Lake Michigan that was shut down quite a long time ago. It was initially built by Consumers Energy, okay? And there's a long history to Palisades Nuclear Power Plant, okay? And to where it describes how it was built by Consumers Energy, and then sold out to Entergy, which is, I'll just say a service provider, okay? But there's a lot of issues over this power plant. And there is plans, okay, and you can see here, it was permanently shut down in May of 2022, okay? But yet, there's aspects over that so-called shutdown because there was an actual official date before this date here to where it was supposedly officially shut down. But you would have to, do a lot of research and all that to really get into all the nitty-gritty over this nuclear power plant. Now, it is of great concern by many over the restarting of this power plant because of its age and so on and so forth. And not only that, incorporating new technologies into an aging power plant and all that, it's got people very nervous. Okay, so from here, I would like to also state that before the beginning of this new year, consumers had sent out notice that their hourly rates of service, i.e., your electric bill, would be going up in price or costs. Well, with consumers, this is also an issue because whenever we have power outages, typically it is all about consumers being front and center, having to deal with power outages to their grid, if you will. Okay? And this is with their rise in energy costs. Well, it's kind of unfortunate because Michigan just went through a minimum wage increase for employees. And of course, I had made mention of this previously, of how this would affect this state. And it's already showing adverse effects because whenever there's a minimum wage increase for earnings, inflation follows. And already we have seen prices slowly rising in many aspects. Even though they claim, oh, gasoline prices have gone down and this has gone down, it does not balance out one iota. Okay? And furthermore, this has now already caused many businesses to start terminating their workers because it's becoming too costly to pay workers because of this minimum wage increase. And this happens wherever you go. Whenever there is that so-called minimum wage earnings increase, it increases inflationary rates. Okay? So, we have that kicking off here. And once again, we are to have a rainy day today, which of course ties in with yesterday's overhead activities. Now then, let's go ahead and get out of this and see, it says here this option of dive deeper in AI mode. Okay, so that's just my little bit of proof that this is not, this is just the rough AI overview through the typical Google engine search. And once again, I have gotten different results even though I have put the same wording into the search engine itself. All right, so let's go ahead and get away from this. And if we can, let's get on over here. Oh, I've got a notification. Somebody just did what? Oh, okay. It's just, my post. Yeah. It's really sad to get these notifications through the algorithms of this platform when I keep up on my posts as well as other comment or replies content to my content. Sorry, it's still early. But let's go ahead and kick on over here to YouTube. And what I want to show is, today, with today's technologies, one thing that you might want to be aware of is the algorithm that's been installed through this platform and how it could actually burn you into the future. Because here lately, when I bring up topics of discussion on my channel, and through my narrations and my narratives within those narrations, I get suggested or recommended watch material thrown at me. And a lot of times, it basically echoes from what I have spoken within my content. Okay, so let's go ahead and just see exactly what I am speaking of. And these are... And forgive me because some of this stuff isn't really what I want to promote or anything like that, such as this right here. I do get into watching these ghost hunting or paranormal investigative videos. A lot of entertainment, okay? That's just how I see it. And then I don't get off on this unavailable videos are hidden. That's just Boulder Dash. So anyways, right, doggone it. And see, I get very fed up with that. Oh yeah, hit the wrong things, Morgan, really screw things up. So let's go ahead and turn this right on down so we don't have to worry about volume over any of this. Now I am going to go ahead and flip this to the side. And, okay, right here I have discussed that DOJ memo through executive order, okay, and which it states, you cannot say this against America, you can't do this, you can't do that, more control systems, and to where, okay, you are now a terrorist. Okay, and this is my concern over the algorithms today, because the algorithms are actually inciting more towards this factor here, especially from people like me or much, much larger channels that speak out against a lot of things that is occurring in America, as well as America and how it's, um, how it's involving itself within other countries and their situations and so on and so forth. And anymore, what you say can be turned around and used against you. Okay? Now I'm old enough, I really don't care. I see things for what they are. And if they want to deem me as such, prove it. You know? And then I'll turn around and I'll go ahead and prove how the algorithms through this platform alone, not other platforms, is actually inciting people to do this through their recommended watch. And once again, a lot of this recommended watch material that is thrown at me is a reflection or echo of content that I have shared. And I'm going to provide just that much more proof as we continue on, as if we can keep focusing here. Okay, so Carl Crusher. It's a channel I used to subscribe to, but once I got into a little bit of a tip over this platform and I unsubscribed from all channels, this was one channel that went, shall we say. And that's enough on that, but yeah, we're going to be hearing a lot more about this stuff here. Okay, in which I talk about that. Now, I speak a lot about the Bible and the changes in the Bible. Okay, and 2 days ago, or at least when I had saved this video, and mind you, what I am showing you here, other than what is underlined in red, I have not watched yet. Okay? So I am not taking information from anything on my watch later list. No, this is information that came to me after I spoke of it in my content. Okay? And boom, just the other day I was talking about the Mandela effect and how it affected the Bible. And throughout my content, I have shown quite a lot of evidences towards that factor. Okay? And once again, being that of the King James Bible, not the NIV or any other publication. There's enough problems with those as it is. Okay, so let's continue on. And, okay, so we also have this here, which I was kind of loosely spoken on. And I've only gotten so far into this video. But I have spoken on this, and lo and behold, this is what comes up through the algorithm. Once again, you have to be careful with what you say anymore. It's not really censorship now. It is the factor of, in the future, how the algorithms are going to turn against people as far as being evidence for their crimes through speaking out and making statements of certain things. Okay, and so the history of America, as well as around the world, just does not make sense when it comes down to the 1800s. And, well, that's a rabbit hole that, somebody just had a police notify them to pull over or something. I don't know if you heard that little whir out there. Happens almost every morning now. Okay, so I've also spoken just recently about, what would it be like if we were under that 13-month lunar calendar. And, well, I guess this might be a little bit more pertaining to that. Once again, I don't know. I have not watched this. But it says fake New Year, hidden month, misalignment. So I can only presume that is about the 13-month calendar. I don't know. Reincarnation was removed from the Bible. I have spoken much on reincarnation. I have playlists on this channel from my secondary channel, Dragonfire Investigative Research, as well as from this channel pertaining to reincarnation, the time loop theory, and so on and so forth. You know, and so far, nothing's come out that has disproven my so-called time loop theory. In fact, I've heard so many, or through so many other channels, this time looping being brought about. And of course, within your video games today, you have your avatars that can get caught in a time loop within the video game. Yeah, interesting, eh? Okay, so, and of course, you know, we are speaking of the Freemasons and Knights Templar in conjunction with reincarnation being removed from the Bible. Okay, so we continue on, and just that much more pertaining to the Knights Templar. But now it's all about finding Atlantis. And of course, within my Dark Knights playlist, there's also a video pertaining to the Knights Templar hunting down cryptids. Okay? But we're going to get just a little bit farther into that, because when it comes down to cryptids, if we can see this, the cryptid pattern they don't want you to know. And why? Because they are all connected. I have brought this up in past content of how these cryptids are connected through sightings of UFOs. Yeah. So through ufology, we can connect that to these cryptid so-called creatures. And of course, you go to Skinwalker Ranch, and you know that's a conglomeration of everything there. Okay, so, and okay, something that I just really enjoy watching any updates is pertaining to these elongated skulls, the tridactyls. Okay, and this one here is a skull, elongated skull, approximately 6,000 years old. Okay, and Cosmic Road, the channel Cosmic Road, he is like my main go-to with updates over these tridactyls, and man, is it getting very, very strange. So if you want to know more about these mummified remains of cryptid beings, check out Cosmic Road and his content and past content. I mean, it is a lot of startling information, but very cool. And once again, a lot of information ties into predictive programming television series such as Stargate SG-1 and even the X-Files, which were not American-made publications, or at least were not filmed in America, supposedly, in which X-Files initially began with a disclosure at the beginning of its first few episodes that the stories were based on real events, or somewhat according to that. Okay, so okay, this is something else that I am seeing and have been seeing for quite some time as an executive order. Forced labor, more or less concentration camps, but being deemed as detention centers. And we have to go back to all the closings of those Walmart box stores and how chain link fences were installed, and so much more. I get into a lot of stuff, and then of course we got more. And once again, you know, all these are not red, or not underlined in red, meaning I have not watched them, but these are once again echoes from my content through the algorithms of this platform. Okay, the richest family that owns Michigan. Yeah. Now this is where a lot of my hardcore content comes in, pertaining to the time loop, and I have this theory that at one given point in time that this planet was shifted from one location into another location in order to divert from a cataclysmic event. And this has actually put us into a different location of space and possibly time. Now, the smartest kid in the world, or once was known, speaks as we actually were sent into a different universe. Okay, so basically, sort of somewhat on the same page. And he speaks of CERN doing this. Okay, now this kid is quite a little bit older today. From what I understand, he is in college. But what he states is right close to my theory that involves the time loop scenario. Okay, now what caused the time loop scenario is when you go to, once again, like what I bring about on my secondary channel, Dragonfire Investigative Research, and I bring up the factors of the Montauk facility. And about a month ago, through this channel here, which is really, really cool, just out of nowhere, this meteorite came down, fell from the sky, and hit the old antenna on top of the structure, the Montauk facility structure. And this video is really cool because you can actually hear and see that meteorite come right down and pating, hit that major size antenna of which so many experiments were conducted through. Okay, and very, very disturbing. Okay, I think I just inadvertently shut off the camera, so we'll have to splice this in. So anyways, furthering on with the Montauk talk, this is a series that was once through the CW network, and on the History Channel, and furthermore on the newer channel known as the Story Channel. This lady here, which very skeptical. Okay, and of course, you know, I don't get off on these reality documentaries, but supposedly this lady here is a past naval intelligence officer that has decided to go out in search of mysteries, and which she does a lot of poo-pooing. Oh, there it goes again, that cop downtown. Woo! Yeah, she poo-poos on a lot of theories and evidences that support the theories. So yeah, I never really cared for this series just because of how she conducts herself. Okay, I'll just state that it's not a bad show, but just not too thrilled over her investigations, if you will, because she's basically a debunker, or tries to be a debunker. And if this is not a good recording, it's possibly because I have had my camera at the wrong angle. But anyways, I feel that this is very important, because as far as I'm concerned, a lot of today's cryptids, or even the past cryptids, could have been brought about, if not even created, through the experiments of Montauk, in which there's already, you know, you might want to go into researching the Montauk Beast, which was a body of some kind of a creature that was found along the shoreline near the Montauk facility. And that was quite the crazy looking critter, if you ask me. Plus there was also stories of a 30-foot hairy creature that was brought about through the experiments that destroyed a great deal of the facility itself and the facility grounds, and to where they actually had to kill the power to the facility in an effort to get rid of this beast. 30-foot Bigfoot, if you will. Yeah, crazy stuff. And the stories sound far out, far-fetched, science, sci-fi, but when you start making connections, more and more realities seem to come about. And I believe that is, yeah, that's basically what I wanted to show right there. And the factor that, once again, the algorithm that provides the recommended watch is not just through what you view anymore, it is what you say through your content. And this is how information has been coming to me that keeps me going on with certain content as far as my talking points. And so if you're not familiar with my time loop theory or my content in regards to reincarnation, I would just kindly ask you to check it out, you know. And I do appreciate the new subscribers, the new viewers, even if you're not subscribed. I do appreciate this new increase in viewers. Been having some great comments being applied to my content and other things being shared with me, which I highly appreciate. And furthermore, pertaining to, okay, now I do have, let's go ahead and just go with this right here. This is my list of playlists, okay, and right at the top, because I have just added yesterday's content to my geoengineering playlist, in which I want to thank, oh man, see, once again, it is early. Let's go to subscriptions real quick. And yes, right here. Heart of the Earth. Now, and I'm going to apologize, people. Okay, Heart of the Earth, she sent me a link today in regards to her, or their, playlist, in which this is a link that they provided in a comment today of their weather modification playlist, in which I want to say thank you, if you're watching this, for applying some of my content in with this list. And when I actually had replied pertaining to that, I only got so far down this list, and it was cut off. And then it was after I had made that reply to where I came back, and the list had actually continued on, and that's when I realized that a lot of different channels here. And there we go. Skywise observations. There's one. There's another one. Oh, my bad. Get out of that. And for some reason, I don't know why, but whenever I click onto my content now, for some reason, come on. For some reason, the closed captioning is on, and I don't understand why. And there's another one of mine. And so I just want to say thank you ever so kindly for including my content into your playlist. Okay? And which, yeah, there's some videos here that I really want to jump on when I get the opportunity to do so. So going back, let's see, let's go ahead and go on back over to my playlist here. Which I just updated that once again today with yesterday's content. I have now 27. Remember, that is one of my golden numbers, if you will. 27 videos now on this playlist. There's my Dark Nights. If you ever want to check that out, 16 videos with that. Let's try to get this to focus properly again. Aspects of religion. Yeah, I do have some other stupid content as far as playlists. 217 comedy type or humor type videos, of course. And then a lot of my own content because of so many videos that I've accrued over the years. So most of my playlist is of my own content. And of course, I have a wide variety of interests, and so I have a wide variety of content, and so I get a wide, well, and what's crazy is I don't get a wide variety of recommended watches. This is another important one here because I actually show how the movement of weather systems or patterns are orchestrated. And I watched today's morning weather news, if you will, and just ridiculous. I mean, what they're putting out there is just nonsense today. Have we been kept in the dark? That's only 2 videos there. Very important. So anyway, I have quite a heavy playlist here that, you know, take time to enjoy, if anything. Yeah, I'm trying to promote my content just a little bit more, but there's a lot that I have brought to the table and decided to discuss, and I'm going to end it now at basically 7:40 a.m. Get to deal with a very gloomy day today, apparently, with bouts of precipitation. And so I am going to go ahead and get stuff prepared for what I do out in the woods. And this is probably going to be the last of my content for today. I think I have basically covered everything that I wanted to bring forth. So on that note, I will ask you to take care, have a great one. Much love to you all, and thank you ever so kindly for watching. Alright, we are back. My bad. Yeah, this is turned out to be one long video. We are almost at 7:50 a.m. and I just wanted to come back real quick because, well, one of my issues here lately is the factor of these video shorts and how this platform is just being just so heavily inundated, whatever, with these video shorts. Very poor copy of TikTok, if you will. And so not only is it the amount of these types of videos formatted this way and not this way, if you will. And this is one of my beefs right here, is because we've got a lot of channels out there that incorporate their content, you know, when they're stealing other people's content and incorporating it into, you know, a conglomerate or compilation of, shall we say, TikTok videos and format it, such as this, to where you literally actually have to zoom in order to see what the heck is being played, or you actually have to, you know, go this route here. Yeah, I can't even do that right. Anyways, that's one of my beefs. But then we go back to we go to the home page of recommended, and we have video shorts. We scroll down a little bit, okay, and typically there is more shorts, right? And then you get down even further and even more shorts, okay? That's why I'm so fed up with this aspect of video shorts, and I'm not out attacking any channels for doing so. All I'm stating is it's just too much. And once again, this is like one of the coolest captures I have ever seen, okay? And again, this is from Heart of the Earth, and I've shown this and provided a link to this and past content. Just awesome. And once again, I want to thank the Heart of the Earth for incorporating some of my content into your playlist if you are watching. So yeah, so right there, 3 sections have already come up. 4 sections, okay, of video shorts. There's so many video shorts today that they advertise or bring up these sections as I scroll and scroll, and we get down so far, and thing is, I do not agree with the algorithms whatsoever. Most everything that does come up, there we go. There's 5, okay? 5 sections right there, and just that little bit of scrolling. That's why I'm fed up with these shorts. Okay? All right. Once again, time is getting closer to that feeding hour time. So I need to get around and finish doing what I'm doing and transfer these files over for a very, very long video that, well, whether I get views or not, even that's a lie today, because you don't even have to click onto a video for more than basically a minute, and it is counted as a view, and I believe that is very deceptive. A view is from beginning to end. That is, you know, a viewing of content, and not just, oh, okay, let's go ahead and chalk it up because somebody clicked on this video for a couple of seconds up to a minute or so and qualify that as being a view. I don't get off on that, not whatsoever. And so that's just more deception through this platform. Yeah, okay. So that's how this day starts, and basically, as far as my content, more likely will be how this day even ends before 8 o'clock this morning. So take care. Once again, have a great one. Blah, blah, blah. This is Skywise out.